Everybody agrees with that. So have different networks for your different security level servers. Keep a separate management network. Whenever you install a hypervisor, it gives you a list of network adapters that you want to use for virtual machines, and it recommends, right there on the screen, it recommends that you keep a separate management network. I'm going to recommend that as well. Resource starvation. Well, let's talk about this a little bit. What does that mean? Well, how many people are running hypervisor right now? Wow, not very many people. How many people are running VMware or ESX server? Wow. Okay, good. I mean, not good, but you know what I mean. Good to know. There you go. How many people have their VMware or their Hyper-V server configured with, I don't know, say all the machines, they just put a static machine out there, I'm going to give it 4 gig of memory and 4 CPUs and let it do what it wants to do. It's only going to take what it needs anyway. How many people configure servers that way? Nobody? Really? All right, who's lying? Raise your hand. You're lying? Okay, a few of you. Yeah, some people will do that. Because it's easier. A user or a department asks for a server, and they never give you specs on what they need, or worse, they give you specs on what you need. You give them that server, and they come back crying to you 2 weeks later that it's slow. Can you give me more power? So the easy thing to do is take what they give you and say give them 4 times more than they asked for, so that they have plenty of resources, right? Why not? Why not? Yeah, you're sharing. Okay. Well, are you really sharing? Well, not really, but yes, you are. So let me explain. Let's say that you're running, I'm just going to keep it simple because, it's been a really long day. Let's say I have 4 CPUs and I have 6 machines. Can I do that? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. What happens if I give all 6 of those machines all 4 processors? Can I do that? Yeah. Sure, why not? What happens when one of those machines goes rogue and starts using 100% of all 4 processors? Can I do that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay. Well, actually, that particular scenario on Hyper-V is not as likely as it used to be. But you do want to cap your CPU. You do want to cap your memory. You don't just want to give them everything. Cap memory. Can you even not have a cap on memory? Who's heard of SP? What is it? SP1 or SP2? SP1 for R2 is going to have kind of a shared memory thing set up. Well, beyond the scope of this, but. Configure VHDs conservatively. What happens? Every machine gets 250 gig of space on their C drive, 250 gig of space on their D drive, 250 gig of space on their E drive. And you know what? I don't have to worry about them filling up, right? I do that on all my machines. They're expandable VHDs. Why do I care? It's only going to use what it needs. Well, until somebody hacks into one of those guests and installs an FTP server, starts dumping all their MP3s and their pornography on there, and now you've got 10 terabytes, and you're saying it's full, and now everything's going down hard. Is that a problem? All of these things you have to think about from a security standpoint. You want to close all of these potential holes. You want to close all these gaps. You want to isolate your networks. You want to configure your VHDs to give them what is realistically the most that they would need. Okay? And if they fill it up because they got attacked and somebody put an FTP server on that client and they filled up their disk space, that server goes down. Your entire box doesn't go down. If they've got a rogue process that's running on it and is chewing up the CPU, it's only going to impact that machine. Or maybe it's going to slow down your host a little bit, but it's not going to shut down everything, right? If it chews up all the memory, oh well, it's not going to impact everybody else. So from a security standpoint, you want to go with resource starvation. You want to give them what they need and not much more. Remember, virtualization, it's easy, really easy to add resources. If they truly need more resources, give them more resources. You can even hot add memory today. You guys, who knew that? You can hot add memory. Okay? You can, why give them all these resources? It's just going to get you in a position where you're ultimately going to have a, remember, I don't trust the guests. Do you trust your guests? No. Don't trust your guests, guys. And gals. By the way, glad to see a couple of females in here. It's nice to see. We're bridging the gap a little bit. I'll look inside network. Okay, so we've talked a lot about security. You know what, the security discussion's not over, but let's dig into networking a little bit. We have internal, we have external, we have private. Well, what's the difference? Well, we also have portable servers. I told you a little bit about my portable server up here, right? And there are features like wireless adapters that you can't use in Hyper-V, right? Who knew that? You can't map a wireless network in Hyper-V. Did anybody know that? Did everybody know that? Did anybody? Who did not know that? Okay, what that means is whenever you go to the list of network adapters, whenever you create an external adapter, you don't see your wireless card in the drop-down list to be able to link it to anywhere. So does that mean you can't use wireless? I'm using wireless on my Hyper-V machine. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Whenever I show you how to do this, that's the one part of this entire session. That's right. I am breaking security whenever I do that. So that's not a security feature. I'm just letting you know that you can do it, okay? Because I needed to do it on this, and I thought it was important to share. All right. So Hyper-V networking a bit deeper. I'm not out of time yet, but I just wanted to kind of take the pulse of you guys. We're still on okay with the topic, or do you want to switch to something else? Are we okay? Yeah. Thumbs up?
Yeah. Deeper.
Thumbs down? Okay, good. Let's keep rolling. So Hyper-V networking a bit deeper. All right, more architecture slides. Who's tired of architecture slides? Wow. Okay. You guys are heroes, man. All right, don't forget the parent is a VM. How could you possibly forget that after this discussion? You need 2 physical network adapters at a minimum. Okay, 1 for the management, one or more for VM networking. Okay? Dedicated NICs for iSCSI. So if you're using the iSCSI channel, you need to have dedicated NICs for that. And you want to connect the parent to back-end management to the back-end management network. Only expose guests to internet traffic. Okay, segment that physical network if you can. Okay, that's going to give. Do you have to do that? No, of course not. I'm sharing with you the way to give you the most secure environment you can possibly get out of your Hyper-V system. So let's take some examples for network configurations. I have a physical server has 4 network adapters. 1 NIC would be assigned to the parent partition for management. NICs 2, 3, and 4 are assigned to virtual switches for virtual machine networking. Storage is non-iSCSI. It's direct attached or SAS or fiber channel. Okay. Whenever I go through the setup, this is the box that I'm going to have. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to leave that first box unchecked. That's going to be dedicated for the parent partition. I'm going to check the other 3 boxes for my virtual switches. And notice it tells you reserve 1 network adapter for remote access to the server. Okay, don't ignore that. Now, is that really a security issue?
No, it's a management.
It's more of a management issue, absolutely. It's not really a security issue, it's more of a management issue. But I do think it's important that you keep that in mind. Wow, and I thought the other colors were bad. What does that even say? All those words that you can't read says applications on all 3 of them. Oh, the ones on the bottom say other stuff though, so I'll just have to tell you what it says. Wow, boy, that came out really terrible. Sorry about that, guys. Who's got the evals for tonight?
Is that Office 10?
Oh, yeah! No, you don't. Sorry, what's that?
Is that Office 10?
No, this was actually...
PowerPoint.
I actually stole some of these slides from another deck and then converted them to this format. And yeah. All right, so again, we're talking about networking. So each VM on its own switch. So the way that looks is you have the parent on. You have the parent on one switch here. You have the parent not on a switch on a dedicated NIC, and then you have the other machines. And what this says is the first switch is NIC 2, NIC 1, NIC 2, NIC 3. It's basically all that says. And then the color codes are which switch you're communicating on. So notice this is going through the VM bus. So that means it's going through the parent for the communication. You see that the virtual service provider there that's managing the VM bus. So you have a communication going to that one, going to that switch. That machine's going through the VM bus to the second switch, and the third one is going through the VM bus to the parent to the next physical switch. Yes?